Hey, good morning or afternoon whenever you're watching this. Welcome to week 3 of our continuous learning at Kentwood High School. This is Mrs. Thomas. I'm glad you're here. This video is a resource for you to use to help you access this week's lesson. It includes more explanations than the PowerPoint and Word document have. So it's a great thing to watch before you send me emails asking me questions about specific areas. So make sure you watch this first. You can always welcome to fast forward, look at other sections that you're actually having questions about. So work at your own pace, do what you need to do. Remember, my lessons, I intend them to not take you really longer than any longer than 2 hours. If you're spending more than 2 hours on them, please let me know that, but it should not take longer than that. All right, so here we go. We're going into argument even more, and so we need to think about what we've been learning and what we're doing this week that relates to that. So our enduring understanding is really thinking about what we do with an argument, and that our opinions should always be have support for them. We should always have facts for them, and our opinion is our main claim, but those main claims often have smaller subclaims or reasons. But we always need concrete details, those facts, those pieces of evidence to support those opinions. Otherwise, it's just opinion, and no one's probably going to take you seriously or listen to what you have to say. So some essential questions we have is what makes one piece of evidence better than another piece of evidence? You need to think of like, why is something more powerful or compelling in an argument than something else? And thinking about what kind of evidence is the most effective in convincing you, and thinking about why that's so effective. So by the end of this lesson, you're supposed to be able to identify evidence in a video argument and what makes that evidence especially strong. And then also you're going to try practicing writing a body paragraph for an argument, and you need to use some quality and specific evidence and details to support your main claim that you're making in that argument paragraph. So we're going to do a little review first. Week 1, we did an overview of all the terms, so we're always bringing those terms back in each week. So this week we're focusing on evidence and reasoning. So evidence are all those things that you can use to support your claims. That can include facts and figures, statistics. It can include just details that you found from the source. So for example, when we read Of Mice and Men and we did an essay about it, we looked at some details that we knew about the characters and what happened. So when we looked at Lenny's bear paws and how they were described that way, that was significant in showing just how animalistic he is. So if I'm going to say he's more animal than human, I can find those details the author used to support that claim. Okay. You can also use quotations. That's really where we directly quote something. But the difference between that and details is that details can be in your own words. Then there's other sources of data and info that you can use. We use evidence to support our reasoning, to really make ourselves more convincing. So reasoning, different than reasons, that's probably the biggest confusing thing, is we have reasons that support like why we feel the way we do, but we need solid reasoning, which actually does something different. It connects how our evidence proves our points or proves those reasons that we talked about. These statements support our position outlined by a claim. It's also an explanation of how, again, that evidence supports the sub or main claim, okay? So for example, if I'm going to claim that Lenny from Of Mice and Men is more of an animal than a human, that's a pretty big claim, right? That's my main claim. Maybe one of my subclaims was that he has animal descriptions of his body, animalistic descriptions of parts of his body. So that's my subclaim. My evidence would be that example I mentioned just a moment ago about his bear paws. And my explanation of how bear paws and having them described that way show that he's more animalistic than human, that's my reasoning. That's where I'm actually explaining that whole idea. All right? Okay, so that's our review. Last week you guys did brackets, some amazing stuff I saw out there. There were a lot of things about cars and superheroes. I saw some about different musical groups or musical genres. You guys really thought outside the box. They were really impressive. So good job for those of you that did that. So you were asked to do that. It's supposed to be pretty fun. Some of you I know got frustrated with the technology. So this week I've changed it up on the technology we're using to submit your assignment. So it's supposed to be a little bit easier, especially for those that had issues with cameras and recordings. It does, though, however, require you to have some writing you're submitting, okay? So what you did last week was you chose a winner for the bracket. You hopefully seeded them and decided how they were going to be listed on the bracket before you even started. You had criteria to support it to determine who got to advance toward the finals. And if you did this, you actually were kind of using evidence and reasoning. Most of you in your explanations were actually bringing up evidence and reasoning in your explanations, which is great. That's what we would like you to do. But we were really focusing on the assessment part of making sure you had that criteria and that main claim. But some of you are using those skills, those advanced skills, which is really good. That's what we want to see. So as we go forward this week, you might want to think of a few things, looking back at what you did last week. What was the best evidence that you actually used last week in your bracket? And then why was that so effective? And think of what was your weakest evidence or the weakest point that you thought of as you were processing through all those decisions. And how would you have strengthened it if you could go back and do that? Or even thinking of your criteria and what was weak and what was strong with those criteria now once you went through the process. All right, so for your assignment this week, you're going to need some supplies. Don't you love this? It's so true. This was us a few months ago. This is still some of us, right? Look at all that water. Look at all that water back there that lady has on her cart. Okay, so you need this PowerPoint, but you're already here, so duh. You probably have that, but if you're just watching the video, I'm assuming you've already looked at this PowerPoint and you're flying through it or something. But you need this. You also need the Word document called Evidence and Reasoning Assignment. You need to save that to your OneDrive or some other safe place because you are going to submit that at the end along with participating in a discussion board. All right.
Hey,
So
sophomores.
part one of your
Welcome
document
to the part of the
has
assignment where you
you
watch
watching this
by
TED
Dr.
Talk
Aaliyah Crum
and
on changing your
doing
mindset
some
and
stuff with
changing
it.
the game. This is a fantastic video to watch.
So what I have right now is this is Mr. Mybori, and in the PowerPoint he explains what you're doing. So if you're not sure what you're doing, listen to this. He explains why you're doing this, what you're doing in your actual document. So what you're doing is you're keeping track of the evidence and reasoning that Dr. Crum uses. And Mr. Mybori, if you click play at the bottom of that thing, it's going to show you that. Then when you're ready to, you click the actual YouTube link to watch the actual TED Talk. Okay, this pushing play down here isn't going to play the actual TED Talk. You click on that up there to watch it. So you can do that part of the assignment. So go ahead and pause this video right now if you need to, and go listen to Mr. Mybori's explanation and watch that YouTube video, TED Talk. All right. If you have issues with the video and things go fast, or you want to be able to copy and paste, I don't know how easy it is to copy and paste on here because I haven't really tried it. But you can get a transcript of any video you really watch on YouTube. They're automatically produced. They're not perfect, but man, it's better than trying to pause and type it, right? And you can also find any part in the video. So if you are wanting to access the transcript to the video, once you're in YouTube, this is just a screenshot of what it looks like. Down here where the likes and dislikes are, there's three little buttons. Those are ellipses which open an additional menu. This little menu will open and you see this thing called Open Transcript. You click that. And up here on the top right, it's a transcript of the speech. It's the actual text. Now, it's not in sentences. It's like continuous. It's a little bit overwhelming. Like this is a complete sentence for her, and it's on 2 different lines. But I thought this might be a good tool for some of you that if the video you can't understand what they're saying, or you want to be able to copy and paste that text, you could use this resource. You don't have to use it. It's just there for you. What's also kind of cool is they do have an option to change the transcript into another language. Of course, your assignment needs to be turned in English, but if you know another language and you want to follow along as you're watching the video with a transcript in another language, you could do that. All right, so we're assuming if you're here that you've already watched the TED Talk, you've already completed part 1 in the Word document, you're ready for part 2 of the week's assignment. So for part 2, at the end of this PowerPoint in this lesson, you're going to be given a menu of topic sentences to choose from. What we've done is we've picked a bunch of different categories of interesting topics we thought would be interesting for teenagers to think about or argue about. But we wanted to keep them also fairly simple. So they come from a lot of different interests and areas. What we've done is we've created an argument claim for you, which is really your topic sentence. And your job is going to be to write the rest of the paragraph for it. So we're going to do an example together here that Mr. Mybury came up with, which is really awesome. It's about Red Robin. And so our category for our topic was food. And I love food. I love going out to eat when I can. So the topic sentence that's given on this one is that Red Robin has the best variety of entree offerings to satisfy the hunger of any person. Now, when you get to the choices at the end, by the way, you can't do this one because we're doing this one together. But when you get to the choices at the end, if it's a topic sentence you don't know a lot about, don't pick it. And there's also an option to change it and make it about a different topic if you want to. So we give you a lot of options to help you find one that will work for you, but there's also the option to create one of your own, okay? All right, so we're going to be working with that topic sentence. We're going to try to prove that Red Robin has the best variety of entree offerings to satisfy the hunger of any person. So we're going to be building this paragraph together right now. So we're going to start with that topic sentence. Maybe think of a topic sentence as a subclaim. Remember, there's probably a larger main claim going on. So in our food example, our main claim of the whole essay might be something like, of all the restaurants in Covington, Red Robin is the place you should choose to eat above all others. Okay, that's the main thing. And what we've given you is a reason why, a subclaim. It's a topic sentence for that body of the paper. So we got to have reasons why Red Robin is the place that we should eat above all others. So our first reason or a subclaim or topic sentence for that is Red Robin has the best variety of entree offerings to satisfy the hunger of any person. That's a pretty good subclaim. That's a pretty good reason to pick a place, right? Is that they have a great variety of things to eat there and it will satisfy the hunger of almost anyone. Okay, so that's what we're working with, and we're going to build the rest of the paragraph to support that. All right, so if it's true, this claim that we have, that Red Robin has the best variety of entree offerings to satisfy the hunger of any person, okay, that's our topic sentence, then the next question is, what evidence would you use to support that topic sentence or subclaim? Now, this implies that you know something about Red Robin. I'm walking you through this one, so I have that information readily available from my own brain, so it's okay. Just stick with me and pay attention, you'll get it. If you're stuck coming up with evidence, trying to get some evidence, we do have some nice sentence starters here. I would maybe take a screenshot of this or remember where it's at in the PowerPoint so that when you go to write your own paragraph, you can use some of these sentence starters. So I can start out a piece of evidence with something like, one example of how they have a great variety of entree offerings is blah, blah, blah. Okay, so we're going to go into an example now so you can see how this is done. But you don't have to use these sentence starters if you're good at introducing evidence. This is just here for those that have a really hard time getting going. All right, here we go. Here's how we do it. Here's how we add the evidence. All right, here's what my paragraph looks like so far. In this case, Red Robin's menu features 32 different options for either lunch or dinner. Okay, so that was my transitioning into the evidence, right? So now I'm going to get more specific. So I've started to introduce it. I mentioned 32 different options. Now that's a good detail, but I want to be more specific. So notice I continue on with the evidence. I bring up the fact and then I bring up some examples to support that. So I keep going with my paragraph. So I say, for example, Red Robin has 12 different burgers, including the Whiskey River Burger, the Mushroom Burger, Bonsai Burger, and many more, as well as entrees like clucks and fries, grilled chicken salad, wraps and vegan and vegetarian options. All right, so there's lots of things listed there. Look at how specific they are. I actually name them. I didn't name all 12 burgers though. Notice I just gave you a few of those titles. I didn't list all 32 options on the menu either. That would be ridiculous to list all of them. So what I'm doing is I'm giving you a good representation of what I'm talking about. So I'm giving you those specific examples. All right, so now that we have we have our topic sentence, we have specific evidence to support it. We now need to get to the reasoning. We have to interpret or explain how that evidence proves our point. This is our commentary. This is the heart of your paper and your writing, because this is where you make those connections for us. So you need to make sure that your reasoning and commentary clearly and logically connect with your evidence. That's the concrete detail that you provided, okay? The fact or statistic, whatever that is. So you need to maybe explain what does the evidence or the concrete detail show or mean, and that's your interpretation. So if you get stuck, we do have some sentence starters or stems to help you out with this part as well. So after I've given my evidence, I can say something like, in fact, this shows blah, 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 or moreover, blah, blah, blah. So you need to think of what your evidence is doing. Only use a sentence starter that makes sense with what you're trying to explain about your evidence. Not all of these will work with every situation, so you just kind of have to use your brain to figure out if any of these are helpful for you getting started. All right, so honestly, this might be one of the hardest parts of the argument paragraph, because this has to be all you. This has to be your ideas and your interpretation and your connections that you're making. This is really the thought process, that higher level thinking. It's really easy to come up with, well, here's a reason, here's some evidence, but to be able to explain that connection between all of that really well takes some skill. All right, so here are some different ways that I could write commentary for what we've written so far about Red Robin, okay? So I have 3 different examples here. So this means that you could go to Red Robin every day for a whole month and never eat the same thing twice. Okay, so the fact that they have 32 menu options, right? There's more, is there more menu options at Red Robin or more days in the month? No, a month mostly has, the highest days in a month is 31, right? So if they have 32 menu option, is that true that you could go there every day for a whole month and never eat the same thing twice? Absolutely. Okay, so that's true, and it just shows that variety that they have. Okay, here's another option for the follow-up commentary. This shows that you could take your 30 closest friends or family to Red Robin, and they could all order something different. See, same thing. It talks about how vast their options are, that there are just so many choices on their menu. It's reiterating that idea and making it relevant to us. It's relating it to our lives. Not that we would go there every day to eat or that we take 30 friends with us, but it's just saying, if you were to, can you just imagine that this could happen, that they could all order something different? All right, the third example of this commentary explanation. Indeed, anyone you know, from the pickiest of eaters to those with dietary restrictions, can find something to eat at Red Robin. Isn't that true? Because the previous slide, if we go back to our example, a couple back, we talked about all the burgers, but we also talked about some chicken options. We talked about wraps, and we said they even have vegan and vegetarian options, which means when I claim here that anyone with dietary restrictions, really even picky eaters, everyone can find something there to eat that they would enjoy, okay? So lastly on this slide, don't forget about your topic sentence. All 3 of these options support that, they go back to that topic sentence that I was working with. And remember, our topic sentence was Red Robin has the best variety of entree offerings to satisfy the hunger of any person. So we have to make sure it actually connects that idea about satisfying anyone and having a variety of offerings. And you'll notice that all 3 of these options do that connection. And that's what's important here. All right, so that is how we write the whole paragraph. This is it. This is it put together. So let's look at the whole paragraph. All right, we know that we were given the topic sentence. I didn't even have to write that. I just had to write the rest. Here we go. Red Robin has the best variety of entree offerings to satisfy the hunger of any person. In this case, Red Robin's menu features 32 different options for either lunch or dinner. For example, Red Robin has 12 different burgers, including the Whiskey River Burger, the Mushroom Burger, Bonsai Burger, and many more, as well as entrees like clucks and fries, grilled chicken salad, wraps, and vegan and vegetarian options. This means that you could go to Red Robin every day for a whole month and never eat the same thing twice. That's a solid paragraph with some good reasoning and ideas there, right? Okay, that's what you're going to be doing. So now it's your turn. This is your actual main assignment for the week, okay? This is what you're going to try out, and you're going to actually copy and paste it into our discussion board. So the assignment where you found all this stuff, that's a discussion board assignment. That's your main assignment. However, your prep sheet, your Word document, you're also going to end up uploading. So let me talk about what you're doing with writing your paragraph first. In your Word document, it has a helpful guide for you with writing your own paragraph. It has blanks to fill in, just like we did on this PowerPoint where it walked you through. You need to do that with your topic, your topic sentence we've given you. So this is the menu that we've given you. And in yellow is the category of the topic. Okay, it's just a general thing. So you can quickly find something of interest to you is why we give you those topic categories. Underneath that is the actual topic sentence, the thing you will be arguing for in your paragraph. Okay, so for example, under clothes and shoes, I see the topic sentence says, the features and characteristics of Jordans make them the best footwear for teens. Okay, that's the opinion I'm working with, so that's what I've got to write about. And challenge yourself, even if it's something you don't necessarily agree with, make sure you find evidence to support it. So here, my evidence needs to support this idea. So I better be giving evidence of the features and characteristics then. And I need to be able to explain how that makes them desirable for teenagers. So when you're picking those features and characteristics for teenagers, that's different than looking at features and characteristics for adults, let's say. So you'll want to come up with at least one piece of strong evidence that's going to support that. If you want to do more than one, that's great. All right, so pick something that works for you, okay? Notice my note at the end of this. You also have permission to create and use a topic sentence of your own creation. So please do that if you're somebody that you're like, you know what, I see all these, I get what they're doing, but I want to do this little mini argument paragraph on this topic. So for example, on TV, maybe you've never seen Game of Thrones and you're like, I can't really do it on that, Mrs. Thomas, but I really do know Grey's Anatomy really well. Then you could just swap out the title for a title of a TV show you feel that way about and write your paragraph about it, okay? So we've tried to give you something that we thought most kids could find something they have knowledge about. So pick one of those topics, but if you need to modify it to make it work, then go for it. Make it your own creation, but make sure it's at the very beginning of your paragraph that you submit. We need to know what the issue is that you're writing about. All right, so to complete this week's assignment, you're going to do two things, and this is listed in the assignment, okay? So make sure you read it. One is you need to copy and paste your paragraph you write about your topic from that menu of ones. It should not be the Red Robin one. You do that one, you're going to be in trouble with me. You need to copy and paste your paragraph into the assignment discussion on Canvas. In that assignment discussion, you can also attach your prep sheet, this Word document where you got everything ready and you wrote down the stuff from the TED Talk video. So it's a two-part assignment this week. It is the preparation stuff and writing your paragraph and participating in that discussion. So I'm going to ask that you submit the paragraph and your paper by Thursday at midnight, so I can get those in for attendance purposes and for feedback on Fridays. And then you have until Sunday to write a response to your peers, to read their paragraphs and do a reply, which then I'll go back and regrade your assignment to give you full credit. So you'll only get partial credit for having the stuff turned in Thursday, but to get full credit, you've got to finish the other part of that, which is the discussion to your peers. And for that, you reply to two of your peers, and the explanation can be found for that in the Canvas assignment. So make sure you go back to that. It has everything listed there that you need to do. All right? So I'm going to try to put my own discussion paragraph, the Red Robin one. I'm going to put that into our discussion so you can see what it looks like. And I'm also going to have a tutorial video. It's not here yet because I haven't created that tutorial yet. It's one of the last things I do. But in the PowerPoint, you should see on this last side a link to a tutorial about how to submit your paragraph and your document in Canvas for your week submission. So this is how to actually turn in your assignment by Thursday. And then I will have a separate one for how to do that with